So these are my plants. They're growing quite well, but in this one it's been flattened by a frog again, a cane toad, most likely. And so I'll have to put some soil on that. You can see like there's like a dip, there's like a hole. Well, you can't see it very well, but there is like a little hole thing. The cane toad squashed the soil. These aren't growing. My cherries aren't growing. These aren't growing. But these are growing. These are growing quite well. I have a feeling those ones are the purple flowers. That one's supposed to be anise, but I could be totally wrong, but that's what it seems like. Marigolds, a daisy maybe, or some sort of flower, and a flower. Wow, there's quite a bit of wind. Lots of leaves are falling down for some reason, but it's also autumn. So leaves are going to start falling down more often. These are my other plants. These ones have grown back quite well. They went into slumber for a good 6 months or so, and then they sprung back during their growing season. So I think it's really cool that they just grow back. I was really impressed. So if you have these are zinnias. So if you have zinnias and they seem to have died, you just leave them in the soil and they grow back, when they're seasoned. So they made a comeback, which is good, but they look like they want to drink. So I might have to get them a drink. These are bright skies. I was going to go for a walk to drop a book at the library again. I might do it either later or I might not do it at all. Look at that beam of light. It's like so strong. It's coming from the sun. It beams so far away from the sun. Look at that. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I've only got one thing to do today, and that's edit my story. I've got 2 things to do: edit my story and work. Anyway, I got to do one thing today, and that's just work on my story again. I'm almost done with it. It's just I have to read through it once again to make sure everything makes sense. I am putting more exclamation marks in instead of full stops, so it's really just a review to check the voice, the tone, like whether it needs an exclamation mark or a full stop, in certain places. So that's all it really is scouring. It's not really fixing anything much, but I did have a couple of things that I fixed yesterday. So up to page 37 or so, and I have 64 pages to go, roundabout. Then from tomorrow, I guess I will be working until 4, and then I have 2 shifts this week, so it's going to kill me, but still it's work, so I get paid. No lounging back on real work. And then I can work on my next thing is music and magazine. So I should probably do some more pictures to send off for submissions. So I probably should bother with that sometime, but not this week. It's nice to take things slow and steady. I just realized the person's over here is burning off again. I have no idea what I was saying. It's something that's slow and steady. I used to take things slow and steady. Don't know why. Who knows? I do, however, I do often find myself rushing. Like when I'm excited to finish something, I just rush through things. And then I'm like, I get all excited that it's almost done, and then I rush it. So I don't know, in context to slow and steady, it's like I don't always take it slow and steady. If I'm excited that things are moving on well, then I'll try and do more and more of it until at a quicker rate. So that's sort of what I found. This is only my second or third day editing, so I think virtually it's my second day, but then again, I was also editing in bits and pieces on the weekends, so but yeah, writing can be so slow and painful that you have to give yourself limits sometimes. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it all at once. I'm going to take it slow and steady, because that's how writers approach their work, at a slow and steady rate. I used to do at least a minimum of 2 pages a day, but then I got slack, and then I didn't end up finishing the story, and then I started again with a new story, and the minimum per day was an estimated 10 pages, which was sometimes 5 pages because I couldn't be bothered writing 10. So that's how I ended up finishing this story. I ended up saying 10 pages isn't doing it for me. After 5 pages, my brain's sort of, conked out of ideas. So I sort of stopped at 5 pages for a while. And then on the last day, I steamed around 16 pages, all in one go. So, and for me, that's a lot. Like I usually am like a 10-page ratio, a lot more. But when I get stuck on ideas, it can be 2 pages. It does work though. If you concentrate on 2 pages, you do progress. So even 2 pages is great. What is the worst thing you can do is just do nothing and then say, I'll make it up. I'll do like 20 pages on the weekend or something. It's like, nope, that's not going to do it. Whereas if you had done 2 pages a day, by the end of the week, you would have had 14 pages. So, so that's what you do. Notice things like that can be really, it takes time, But then you get excited and like, oh, I'm almost done, I'm getting there, I'm almost done. And so then you're like going, I want to just continue on. And then you steam through like sometimes 20 pages at one time. It's like, yeah, that's not taking it that slow and steady. I used to write 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like I used to be on a blog myself, but that's exhausting. I used to really spend a lot of energy writing. So I was obviously wrote a lot more, and I had a lot more content to certain books, but they still weren't good. I mean, they were easy to read, but they weren't they didn't engage readers to want to buy them. So, when it comes to trying to engage an audience, it's like they weren't that engaging. So I was like, I was very disappointed. Some of my, longer stories and things were seen, weren't actually very well seen because no one really wants to read them. So that's why I sort of gave up writing for a while. I was like, oh, it's great, I'm no good, no one wants to read my crappy writing, and this and that, and I sort of give up, and then I come back to it later. Ideally, writings that made me most money were fictions that were up to 10 pages long. So it's essentially like a very short story or an excerpt. And that made me probably the most money I've ever made. And the only one story that I actually found an audience for was, I had issues and it didn't end up being acceptable for publishing. So, but I did work for a company in the US. Maybe they published something of mine. I don't really remember though. But either way, I have a pretty good esteem for my latest writing. I mean, I liked my last one a bit, but it hasn't made anything, so it's once again a nice writing, a nice book, but no one's reading it, so. But at least it's like sitting somewhere safe, so it's going to be there for like a long time. But I do have a good leaning towards this writing, so. I had to get that. I had to get that on. Not every day you see a car speeding down the street. But yeah, I was gonna say I think I wrote a good story, but doesn't mean that it'll have it like people pick it up and be like, oh, I have to read that. It's like so. So other than writing today, I might go for a walk to the city, to the town in this afternoon when it gets cooler. I don't know. I don't know if I'll make it today. Usually if I virtually don't go early in the mornings, I don't go at all. Like, I'll leave here at like 8, get there by 8:30, do whatever until 9:30, and come back by 10. But with the sun out, I had like a restless sleep. I probably woke up at 5:30, stayed in bed forever, and then it was 6:30 when I opened my eyes and checked the time. And my issue was it was quite warm. I kept on feeling hot, and so it's a hot day. I was looking forward to getting a hotel stay on the Gold Coast for my birthday, but I think I'm going to get jewelry instead, so I'm disappointed that I'm not going to have a holiday. I would like a holiday. I know exactly where I'm going to go. And I probably should say, hey, I want to travel to the Gold Coast instead of get a foot spa. I can buy myself a foot spa, but no one can drive me to the Gold Coast, so like I should have said, yeah, I want that to be like my oops, sorry. I'm not supposed to getting a house in here. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to the Gold Coast because I want to see some exhibits. I want to buy myself a little guitar. And I would hang out at the beach, but I have to prepare myself for that. It's going to take 4 to 8 weeks to prepare. And then I can say, yes, I can go to the beach. I'm all prepared. My skin's in great condition. No one's going to make fun of me or ask me off. But now I have to learn how to swim because I can't swim anymore. It's been too long, man. My brain can't work it out. So that's what no one's ascertained. Like, people live in apartments and things in areas without beaches for so long, they forget how to swim. And they forget how to swim in the ocean. And so it's like, for me, that's the biggest risk of having you drown or something, because I just don't remember it after a while, and I have been used to like sitting and not moving my arms and legs, and probably don't have that much strength in them because I used to swim really well, but now I can't, so I need to relearn it. Yeah, everyone else who saw me grow up would be like, why can't you swim? And it's like, I don't know, just lost practice or something. It's like, how can you lose practice? You never practiced like when you were younger and you were always able to swim. And so it's like, I know. But that was after practicing it. That was after practicing it with other relatives around to support you if you can't, work out how to kick your legs. And then you end up dipping the water, and it's like, I'm still figuring it out. So, yeah. I think it's a shame that I've lost my ability to swim, actually. But I also have no real interest in swimming because I don't really like the ocean that much. I like the calm ocean. I don't like the big, rough oceans. So, unfortunately, I just like calm water, and so I'm not practicing how to swim in the oceans anymore. So. But I do feel like going to the beach. I should have made a beach request my birthday. Because no one wants to take me here, but I didn't. I said a foot spa, so that saves me $100, which I'm probably going to be given in a gift card anyways. So save my $100 for something else. But I shouldn't buy so much because I may want to move from here, and it's like, look at all this stuff, collecting too much stuff. I'm going cheap on clothes so that I actually wear all the clothes that I have. So I've got so many clothes, and and I'm like, no more clothes until I wear out my jeggings and other items. So, you know, it's a good thing winter's coming on, because it's like that's when I'll probably have to wear my jeggings and stuff. And it's like, I'm not buying myself trousers until I've worn everything out, because otherwise I'll buy myself another pair of trousers and be like, oh, they're nice trousers, and then I won't wear what I've got in my cupboard. So yeah, it only takes a year, and then they should be worn out, and then I can buy something new.